Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a story time video, and I used to do these a long time ago and they were very well received by you guys, so I thought I would bring it back, old school. And today we're going to talk about my detransitioning story time. Yes, that may be hard for some of you guys to believe, but I once did detransition. If you guys are new to my channel, do not forget to subscribe. The button will be down there, and click the like button if you guys like my trans content. And without further ado, if you guys want to hear about the time that I detransitioned, then just stay tuned. Okay, so let's set the scene here. This is back in 2012. Yeah, so I was freshly graduated high school. I was about 18 or 19 years old, and I had been a watcher of YouTube for a very long time, and I had been watching Gigi Gorgeous for years on end. And she announced in 2012, I think it was the beginning or end of 2012, that she was going to be transitioning. And it was something that I really didn't know anything about. I honestly never really knew that you could, take hormones to transition your body into the gender that you felt like. I just thought I was going to kind of be stuck in the body that I was born with. But once she came out with that video, I immediately clicked in my head. I was like, you know what? Okay, this is me. This is how I define myself. I wasn't just a feminine gay boy. That was not the term, just didn't sit with me. I was like, you know what, no, this doesn't fit me. But as soon as she said transgender, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. This is something that I need to do. So I mentioned it to my parents, and I was 18/19 years old. I was very young, and this was very new. So this was before Caitlyn Jenner, kind of came out into the world as Caitlyn Jenner, and it was before really anything was big, or there was a lot of knowledge about what a transition looked like, how transgender people live after they transition. My parents were just more or less worried about what was going to kind of happen over the next couple of years, and they were very nervous. So I definitely did not have their support at all. But that did not stop me. I was like, you know what? I need to find, an endocrinologist. And if you guys do not know, the endocrinologist is who prescribes you hormones. And I know that there are some of you out there, that are maybe watching this that self-medicate. And I definitely recommend going to see a physician who can monitor your hormones, because it could get really dicey if you don't have a physician monitoring your blood levels. I go every 3 to 4 months to get everything, checked out, make sure every other part of my body is functioning well while being on the hormones. It doesn't just have to do with my hormone levels. So that's my little tidbit of advice. Definitely see a physician. Well, I went to my primary care physician, and I explained the whole situation. I was like, you know what? This is something I've felt for a very long time. Transitioning is something that I need to do for me. This is something that's going to better my life, and I'm going to overall, be able to live my life. I asked to be referred to an endocrinologist, and that is actually exactly what she did. And a couple of months later, I went and talked to him. I let him know, all the tea. I was letting him know this is something I felt for a very long time. This is just something I need to do for me. This is something I've been waiting to do. I just really didn't know what to call it. I didn't know that this was even possible to be able to transition. I was prescribed hormones, and I could have been no happier. You could have not, taken away my sunshine. But over the next couple of months, I was on hormones for 8 months. When I was 19 years old, I was on hormones for 8 months. I was very happy. I felt like I was on my way to, making my life better for myself. I was going to feel more at home in the body that I was given, and I was going to be overall happy. But the hardest part is I did not have the support. I had the support from my friends. I had the support, from anybody online. But when it came to family support, I didn't have any. My parents were very against it. Some of the things that my parents would say were very hard to, handle. I mean, I was told I was going to be an ugly girl. I was told that it was never going to work out. After a couple of months of hearing the same thing over and over and over again, and not having that support, because going through a big transition like this, a gender transition, is huge, and it's very stressful. It's depressing. It's anxiety ridden. It's just filled with a whole bunch of different emotions, and to not have some support to lean on, it does eventually get to you. So after 8 months on hormones, I decided to stop, and that wasn't because I wanted to. It was just because in the current moment. Like, I couldn't handle all of the stress of like transitioning, the no support, the negative comments. Like, I just couldn't handle it all. So I stopped and I grew out my facial hair. And if you guys do remember when I started YouTube, I had like long facial hair, but I was still growing my hair out. That was the one thing that I didn't stop doing. I kept growing my hair out. So for a couple of years, that's what I did. I started dabbling a little bit more into, you know, women's clothing again, but I was still not taking hormones. Like, I was still just, you know, living my life as a boy and dreaming of the day that I could start hormones again. I slowly started to introduce like more and more and more. So I started to buy more girly clothes. Like, it was to the point where I was like shopping only on the women's side of stores, and I was not buying any boy clothes, but I was still presenting myself as man. The more I started to introduce things, the more, you know, I got pushback from my family, but the more that they saw that the pushback wasn't affecting my decision, just coming to realize that I was going to do this regardless of what they had to say, really, I think, made it click in their head. So at the, you know, young age of 22 years old, I decided, you know, this was what I needed to do. Like, I couldn't wait any longer. I was starting to get really, you know, dysphoric about my body again. I was starting to get very dysphoric about my life and how it wasn't going where I wanted to be. I was very depressed. I just needed to get back on hormones and start my transition to the life that I was supposed to live. That's exactly what I did. I started taking hormones, but I kept my facial hair. So as you guys saw from my first hormone update, which was 6-month hormone update, I will leave that up here if you guys are curious to see, you know, what it looked like, sounded like, all of that back then. But I will leave that up there for you guys to check out. But I kept my facial hair. It was just something I kept for almost a year being on hormones. I kept the facial hair because, like I said, it was my security blanket. It was something that I didn't want to let go because I didn't really want to go step into the world and have someone be like, is that a boy? Is that a girl? Like, that was my biggest fear. Like, I just wanted to, quote unquote, pass and fly under the radar and just transition and live my life how I was meant to in the beginning. But the one big turning point for my family was when the Gigi Gorgeous documentary came out here on YouTube, and there was a Katie Couric documentary on National Geographic, I think, about trans people. And my family sat down and watched this. I mean, all of them. Sister, brother, mother, father. Like, we all sat down and we watched this, and it really gave the science behind what being transgender was, the biology, like all of that. It really gave them kind of an understanding of why I was this way, but it also gave them hope because they could see so many different families and how they dealt with their child being trans. And I really think it just kind of clicked in their head because ever since that, you know, day, my family has been nothing but supportive. If you are in a situation where, you know, your family isn't supportive, or, you know, you feel like you're kind of in the middle of the tunnel, you don't see light at either end, just know that, like, it will be there. Trust me. You know, just give your family a little bit of time. I know that that's not easy to hear, and I know that, like, it's not easy being a trans person with no support, and I know that it's not easy being a parent of a trans person because most of it comes out of fear of, you know, the well-being of you, their child. And that's something that took me a couple of years to kind of realize that they weren't really doing it because they did not want me to be happy. They were doing it because they were so afraid, because so many trans people get killed all the time. You know, so many people get made fun of and bullied that they end up committing suicide. So my family was just very nervous about all of that. But here I am 4 years later, 4 years into my consistent transition, and I can say that I've never been happier. I am literally in such a good place. I know there are probably many young trans people with, you know, detransitioning thoughts, or maybe they'll never get to, you know, this place that I'm in right now, but trust me, it does take time. Trust the process. It is just, it's not going to be easy. That's the one thing I'm not going to sugarcoat. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. You may lose some family. You may lose some friends. You may lose a lot. Just don't lose yourself. That's all I have to say. Just don't lose yourself. That's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Do not forget to subscribe down below and give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out my last video. That'll be linked right here. Stay on the channel, have a couple laughs, learn a couple makeup techniques, and I will see you guys on my next one.